Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. You got Marc and Brian back on the show. Season 13, episode 5.
All the new products for the holiday season. Some you may have missed.
Marc, I have a bit of bad news for you. Ready? I haven't shared this with you yet.
Oh, nice. Just what I like to start a Monday morning with. Monday morning, hit me with the bad news.
The AI generator that I've been using to make songs for the podcast is officially been sued and shut down all downloads. So if you hated or you loved all those little AI songs, they shouldn't be. Everything else moving forward should be of my own creation now and not an AI song, which is, I know, disappointing to some. No, I don't think a lot of people actually didn't like it, but I thought it was kind of fun. But the AI songs,
A couple of the AI songs were really good. There were a few. I liked them.
There were a few that were fun.
And I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but our publisher, Scott Hold, released a series of editorial articles, and he was using AI to kind of generate photographs. It's clear that he's having a lot of fun as well, but we did have comments saying, is that AI? I don't know. And where are all these people? How come everybody has the same faces? How come all the speakers look the same? And I'm like, do what you can, but learn to recognize AI when you see it, and life will be a lot easier. That's my advice for this Monday morning.
Yeah, Monday morning. I think, that there is some pushback to AI right now, and it's evolving still.
Oh, seriously, yeah. People don't like it, and in fact, I don't like it, especially when like my Facebook feed. It's just, there's so much in there that's just obviously AI.
You're right. I think the big important thing to remember is to be able to differentiate what is real and what is not. A very important distinction for life, I think.
For instance, the fingers.
Yeah.
See, I have 10. You know this is not AI because I have 10 fingers instead of 23. I am not an AI guy, but I can't enjoy it as long as I know it's AI, clearly. I think that's the secret to enjoying AI.
Today's show is brought to you by The Voice That Is. Doug White is an award-winning boutique dealer that has assembled a refined selection of elite brands, featuring Tidal Audio, Doman Audio, acoustical systems, REL subwoofers, Siltec cables, Turnball cables, Vinnie Rossi, and the fabulous Tidal by Bugatti components, just to name a few. Providing personal service, TVTI's carefully selected brands are from the finest companies in the world, each of which at the top of their category and represents exceptional high quality, performance, and above all, musicality. Check out a full list of all of Doug's world-class products at www.thevoicethatis.com. And if you are attending Capitol Audio Fest November 14th through the 16th, stop by and see Doug in the Wilson Room to hear several new products in person. He will be happy to see you. For nearly a century, Wharfdale has defined what we know as the British sound: natural, musical, and unfatiguing. The new Evo 5 carries that tradition forward with modern refinements. Air motion transformer tweeters for effortless treble detail, woven drivers for rich mid-range and bass, and gracefully curved cabinets designed to minimize resonance and enhance imaging. What makes Wharfdale special isn't just the engineering, it's the philosophy. Evo 5 delivers performance you'd expect from far more expensive loudspeakers, staying true to Wharfdale's belief that great sound should be within reach of every music lover. Heritage, craftsmanship, and true value for the money. That's the Wharfdale way. Discover the new Evo 5 series at wharfdaleusa.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Pass Labs. For over 3 decades, Pass Labs has delivered unparalleled sound quality. Solid-state amplifiers designed by legendary engineer Nelson Pass and preamplifiers designed by Wayne Colburn come together to bring warmth and transparency to your audio experience. Handcrafted with precision and passion in the U.S., our world-class service department is here to ensure your Pass Labs products bring you joy for years to come. Listen with Pass Labs and discover your music like never before. So we have Shloo. We have a barrage. We have a collection.
A Shloo?
A shlew. I think I just made that word out,
zoo?
but I still like the way it sounds.
Shlew. It's yours.
Did I make it up? Is that a made-up word?
It is. You're thinking of a slew. A slew.
A slew! Oh, well. It's called improvisation. Improvisation.
A slew of, not a shlew.
I appreciate you.
Okay. I think you should own it.
I think it's going to be a thing, dude. It's going to be the new thing we do. It's going to be like, the latest adjective everybody jumps on and uses. So if you've been following the podcast last week and a couple weeks before, I've mentioned that the product launches this year have been a little light. But I wanted to confirm really concretely in the context of the podcast how many products are coming out, new products. How's the industry doing? And as a reflection of that, I wanted to make sure we talked about all the new products coming out for the holiday season. So we put them all on a list. I invited Mark on the show, and we kind of want to just go through all the new products to show you what's hot, what's new. Maybe bring some stuff to your awareness that you weren't aware of. We don't want you to miss anything. And we're going into the hot season where, all the reviews amp up, all of the end of year. I love having Mark on because we do a bunch of end of year stuff. What's been hot? What's the best sounding stuff? What's the best value? And then Mark also is going to have a very special category again this year. So we have a lot to talk about in the fourth quarter, as we say in the business realm. But I wanted to kick it off, as I like to kick things, with this series on the new product. So I think with that, Mark, I want to tip it over to you. And probably, I don't know, maybe you agree, this is the biggest kind of thing going into the season that we're most excited about. There's a lot of things we're excited about, but this one, a pretty big announcement came across this week.
I guess we are talking about the Technics, the Sigma Delta upgrade to the SL1200G. And what is it called? The SL1200G ME. Now, earlier this year, I reviewed the Technics SL1300G. It's different than the 1200G. It looks different. It looks more like one of their audiophile turntables as opposed to one of their, the DJ style that we're used to seeing from these tables. So, but they introduced something called Sigma Delta. I thought it was initially just referring to a new direct drive system, which they do have. It's got a new dual type of motor to their direct drive system. But what it is it's just kind of a top to bottom approach to completely eliminate noise, vibrations throughout the turntable. And so my take on the SL1300G, it's $3,300 with the ARM. And we all know that the SL1200s they've gone up over the last few years. I think they're $4,600 now. I reviewed this turntable, and the thing I said about it was that this, to me, sounds just as compelling as the 1200G for more than $1,000 less. And it's this new Delta Sigma approach that they have in designing. And the first Delta Sigma was a more inexpensive model, which runs about $2,000. But once they saw how people were responding to this new approach and the resulting sound quality, they started looking to do other turntables. So they started off with the 1300G. I really like the 1300G. It doesn't sound exactly the same as the 1200G. It sounds a little bit different. It sounds a little bit more linear. But at the same time, if I were sitting in a dealer and I was listening to a 1200 and a 1300G compared to each other, I'd be like, they're a little different, but they're both really good. I think I'll save $1,000 and get the 1300G. I mean, I might do that too as well. But the first thing I thought of after I did this review was I said, wow, they're going to have to upgrade the 1200G, maybe with this Delta Sigma, because they've leveled the playing field and now the 1200G is no longer the great bargain it once was. So what we have now is they finally decided to put the Delta Sigma design into the 1200G ME, and the price is not announced yet. I think most people assume it'll be a little bit more than the current 1200G is, but I'm really excited because, I mean, I love the 1200Gs. I had one. I used one for 3 years. I was really sad to see it go. And then when I got the 1300, I was surprised that I like this one too. So the idea that there's going to be a 1200G ME coming out, and 1210, of course, that's the black and gold version, that they're going to be available, I guess, in January. I'm reading January. That's going to be the big news of the year in turntables. I mean, the last time I tried to buy a 1200G, the waiting list was forever. So I bet you it's going to be kind of tough to get a 1200 GME, but they're going to be worth it. Probably the one thing that I'm excited about for 2026.
Yeah, and it looks like they are going to be a limited run. So the GME stands for the G series, the Master Series, the GM Master Series. And they're going to limit, I guess initially, according to the PR release, they're going to limit the amount produced to the model numbers. So there'll be 1200 GMEs and 1210 made for the 1210 GME.
Technics does that all the time, where first came out with 1200G, it was the GAE, the introduction of it, the first line, the special version, the commemorative, model or whatever they want to say. And then they bring it pretty much the same version, but without maybe, the special collector's badge. So Technics does realize that the tables they make in fewer quantities wind up being worth more, obviously. And so they do that so that people are going to jump and they're going to buy this first run. And then there's going to be a different one coming later that'll be the same thing without, like I said, the fancy badge.
Nice to know. Thank you. That's a great tip. Okay, and now another brand that you have some experience with, Triangle Hi-Fi.
We just did the Triangle. Greg Neville reviewed that for us. Triangle is starting to get into the powered speakers, tiny little electronics unit that kind of serves as the interface for everything else. He liked it. I still think that Triangle, they re-entered U.S. market with New Energy a couple of years ago. We reviewed a couple of them. They're really excellent. In fact, so much so that Greg Neville, who I just mentioned, wound up buying a pair. This idea that they're going off to this kind of market segment where it's very digital and it's very, it's everything running off of your router is interesting, but it's also interesting from the standpoint that these guys make really good speakers. This is going to be probably a cut above most of the other competing products from brands that aren't quite as well known for their quality speakers. So I think this is something to look out for.
100%. Yeah, it's called the Capella 2 wireless bookshelf style active speakers. And it comes with the Stereo Hub version 2. So they updated the little transmitter device. Again, the PR release said early 2026. And I don't have an American price, but I got 2,500 British pounds. So it's not exactly competing with the CAF that came out at Costco this season. I didn't see it yet. I've been looking for it. There's a Costco version of the CAF wireless that I would like to get my hands on, but I haven't been able to find it at my local one yet. Anyways, that's the rumor. There's a Costco version. Now, moving on to switching gears a little bit to amps, there is another brand I know that you have. I have some experience with at the shows, and you've heard Advanced Paris.
This was a brand that I really liked because I always saw it at the Munich show. And the Munich show, they had one of the big glass front kind of storefronts in the main atrium. And it's really pretty stuff because, well, it's French, looks a lot like 70s receivers, and it's got kind of a retro styling to it. It's a little bit like a French version of Macintosh, and it's a glass faceplate, big meters, brightly colored. Instead of being the green meters, they're blue meters with the black faceplates. And they have the new Apex line coming out, which is more of a monochromatic look, where it isn't the blue, it's the white. The company has just celebrated, I think it's its 30th anniversary, and they're coming out with this new line. My take on the brand was that it's beautiful. It looks great in your house. So it's kind of a lifestyle component, but it also sounded good. It had tons of features packed into this thing. I did an integrated, but it had the DAC and a streamer. It had all these things built into it. It was $5,000. That's one of the things I've started to notice over the last few years is that when I review with these all-in-ones, which they're basically integrated amplifiers, they have DACs in them maybe, they have streamer, they have other things that are interesting that add value to it. They're usually fairly affordable, and some of these brands, they're just offering so much for the money, and I definitely think Advanced Paris is one of these companies.
So they're going to have the entire Apex range, which includes the A8, the A10, the A12, the ADC compact CD player, the 8X Apex. This range goes from like $5,000, as you said, for the A12 Apex, down to like the CD player at $1,400. And they have upgraded electronics surrounding the DAC sections, new supplies, yada, 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 yada. So there's a bunch of updates, and it's a very exciting time, I think, for the all-in-one. And we've talked about this in the past, Mark, that you're going to see more and more of this kind of all-in-one, or at least introducing DAC sections into integrateds more and more as we move forward. Because I think that it's one of those things that kind of adds value, and it doesn't add too much space, right? It doesn't need too much space to kind of do its thing.
It's easy to put a DAC. I mean, we're used to like phono stages going in, but now it seems the two things that they want to offer, they're integrated, is A, a DAC, and B, a phono stage. And that kind of gives you both worlds, and you can build anything you want from that. And I think that's exciting too. But one of the secrets to doing these all-in-ones is that we're now using Class D in a few of these, which Class D, the module, I mean, just like a DAC chip is small. These Class D modules are small, which allows you plenty of space inside the unit to put all these extra things. And you don't have to worry so much about, since you're not dealing with big transformers, you don't have to worry so much about putting everything into one box and having all the things in there jumping around and causing a bunch of noise and vibration and interference. The advanced pairs isn't Class D. But I have done some Class D ones, and that's sort of the secret, is that Class D allows you a lot of space. That's why Class D amps are so small, because they don't take up a lot of room. So I think that's one of the keys to this kind of product category, why it's becoming so much popular, because nowadays it is possible to have it all in one box and for a reasonable price.
This episode of the Occasional Podcast is brought to you by AudioQuest. All AudioQuest products, from the company's most modest parts to its most ambitious works of art, are thoughtfully designed to deliver outstanding performance and exceptional value, regardless of price. No matter how little or how much you invest, AudioQuest is made for you. Explore AudioQuest's award-winning cables, power products, and accessories at audioquest.com. Tired of audio reviews that sound like they were written by robots? Us too. For the last 15 years, Part-Time Audiophile has been an open revolt against boring. And this year, we're doubling down. We have a brand new look and a brand new name, but the same old attitude. Find us at pt.AUDIO for all your turntable throwdowns and amplifier face-offs. Great sound meets good times at pt.AUDIO. Today's episode is sponsored by Shit Audio. Shit Audio designs and builds audio components in Texas. Their wide line of amps, DACs, and audio accessories fit any budget, starting at $49. For a full rundown of all their products, visit shit.com. That's SCHIIT.com. Speaking of Class D, there is a new high-end Class D amplifier coming to the market from Mola. They have a half-size box, but 350 watts into 8 ohms, full bridge amplifier, and again, Class D. Now, they did make sure in the press release to emphasize that there is a discrete Class A gain stage, but again, the power is Class D.
It's really nice stuff. It's small. All of it is, the half size, the half width chassis, so you can really accomplish a lot in terms of space. The stuff sounds great. Fantastic. I've done a series of Class D monoblocks, specifically the GAN FET ones. Mm-hmm. And so I'd like to continue that because it's kind of a counterpoint to my 300B exploration, where I'm going into GAN FET and I'm finding a very different sound that's also very satisfying. And so Mola is one of the big brands in terms of pushing this forward.
Also, on the amp front, another high-end brand, Goldman Telos Integrated 670, priced at $26,000.
And I said to myself when I saw this, that looks like something I would like to review once again. So Goldman has been quiet for years. I mean, they've been around forever. I remember when I was a young audiophile, and one of the first big systems I ever listened to was with those big modular Goldman speakers. And I remember I was listening to a Miles Davis recording, and Miles was just standing in front of me, blowing his horn right in my face, and I had never heard anything like that before in terms of imaging. This is, like I said, the 80s. They seem to be back with renewed energy, a revitalized company, and they're coming right out, introducing new products that look interesting, and it's one of those brands been around forever, and they have a lot of respect in the industry, and we'll see how this goes for them, but I'm excited to see this.
Speaking of brands that have been around forever, I feel like you're setting me up really good, Mark, with a lot of segues here. Speaking of brands that have been around forever, JBL has a new studio monitor, the JBL 4369. JBL, have you heard of it?
Yeah, I have heard it once or twice. It's really funny because back in the day, back in the 70s and 80s, when JBLs were one of the main choices for hi-fi aficionados, I never really liked JBL speakers. I just thought they were really loud. They're rock and roll speakers or party speakers. But what's really funny is I actually find myself craving time with these reissues of their classics. First they did the L100. And when I go back after all this time and I listen to them, I'm like, I don't know why I didn't like these guys. They're really fun. They do play loud. They do play strong. If you love your rock and roll, if you love your metal, a JBL is going to take you far away. This new one, the 4369, is a little bit larger than the 4367 that we reviewed a couple of years ago. And I was surprised. Our reviewer, once again, Greg Neville, really dug this speaker a lot. And I said, good, I'm glad. I'd like to see JBL. I love it when these old-time companies, Technics is the main one, where Technics came back and started putting out some really good stuff. And for a while, Marantz was doing some really good stuff, and even Pioneer was doing some good stuff. But it's just giving these old brands a chance to kind of reinvent themselves is exciting. And the fact that JBL is still out there and they're making the kind of stuff they do, and it's good news for everybody, I think.
Yeah, this new one is a two-way floor standing speaker, and it has updated driver technologies, refined camlet design, new,
but it's big. It's huge.
Yeah. And the next generation crossover network, they call it. But again, this is one of those products that's not going to make it out to the market till probably Q1 of 2026. So it's a little early prep for that one. But yes, very exciting.
Yeah.
Very cool look. Now, here's one that I know you have some experience with, and I do too as well. I got a chance to see this at the Audio Vision event that I've been talking about last month. I was one of the very first people on the world tour that this product has been going on in US.
Yes, the Nazare.
Nazare.
So if you wonder why is it called the Nazare, the Nazare is the place on the Portugal coast that has the big Maverick waves that are 60, 80, 100 feet tall. So they're equating this new product to a huge, giant wave that's going to come and sweep everybody away. But I'm a huge Inuos fan. I've had the Pulsar, which is a streamer. I've had that here for a couple of years now. I really love it. I'm constantly searching out DACs to try with it. I just received a new version of the Zenith, and the Zenith was always the second to the top underneath the statement. The new Zenith is actually quite accomplished, and this is a server and streamer. I mean, it's $21,000. The Pulsar that I've had is $8,000, but it's only a streamer. But there's a huge difference in the sound quality. And if you've ever been to a high-end show and went into the Inuos room, they are always focused on doing A/B comparisons between their older product and their new improved product. And the differences are always pretty obvious. I mean, it's easy to hear them. There's always more air around the instruments, air in space, and everything is much quieter. And so I haven't heard the Nazare. It's, how much do you say, $55,000? For a server streamer. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure where the statement is going to fall yet. I thought the Nazare was going to replace the statement, and then the Zenith, this new Zenith that I have, is around the same price as the old statement. So if they're going to do this, they're going to go to this length, it's going to be something worthwhile. But you heard it. You tell me.
I saw it fronted by some really nice YG acoustics. I thought it sounded great. And I couldn't agree more about the A/B comparisons they do at the shows. It does sound like it has more air. It does sound a little blacker background. It's just kind of exciting to see the A/Bs in real time at shows, because I think it's a very daring move that a lot of brands don't really want to risk. And so that is a really interesting part. And this is the new flagship from them. Of course, they're going upstream on the price, but this thing's like a giant, full-sized piece of audiophile gear. So the look is cool. The external design is cool. The aesthetics, the industrial design. So it's all there. It's a giant chunk of hi-fi.
It is. The aesthetics are amazing.
Yeah. It's a giant chunk of hi-fi. If you are going for the creme de la creme of what this world has to offer, more products are coming out that are, at the top of the fountain that will match up with your really expensive speakers. And I think this is one of those products. When you see it, you look at it, it fits the bill. It belongs in the rack next to all the other expensive gear. And I think it fits it in tone and output and in the way it looks. Speaking of very expensive high-end stuff, we have two large-scale, high-end cables that kind of had some announcements. One being AudioQuest with the Lone Ranger Zero. They have a speaker cable. It's new, and it involves some of their Zero tech inside the speaker cable. That's $3,290 for an 8-foot pair. But also another brand that we're vastly familiar with. Mark, tell us a little bit about Turnbull.
Turnbull Audio. I'm currently reviewing a loom of the Turnbull audio cables, and I know there's going to be a lot of people in there saying how much for cables, and I don't even entertain the whole cable debate thing, because I'll tell you something about both of those products, and I'm including the AudioQuest one. Is the idea behind this is that cables should be nothing in the system. They shouldn't influence anything. They shouldn't make anything sound better. They shouldn't fix problems. They are the problem, as George Carter likes to say. So AudioQuest's new cable is focusing on that, is making something as a pure of a signal transfer as possible without any kind of editorialization. And that's the way that people need to start thinking about cables, is that you're physically doing something that's going to change the sound no matter what. The minute you plug in a cable, somehow compromise the sound in some way. And the idea is to make it compromise as little as possible. And so I know AudioQuest with this new line, they're tackling that specifically. But Turnbull, this stuff is amazing, and I don't know what I'm going to do when I have to send it back, which is probably very soon. They're very addictive in terms of you're listening to your products, your gear, your components. You're not listening to what the cables are doing in the system, because cables shouldn't be doing anything. And unfortunately, to make that happen, it's a lot of money to do that. So these are expensive cables, but they're not the most expensive cables I've seen, first of all. And if you have the kind of system which is just extraordinary, you're going to want the best cables to show it off, and these are the ones. I've never heard anything like these cables before. I feel like I'm very lucky to have them in my system and to be listening to them and know what's possible.
That is the Turnbull Prestige Power Distributor that's coming out. That's like $90K, and it comes with the Prestige grounding cable. That's $4,600 for 4 feet. If you'd like to buy the Prestige grounding cable separately, that's the cost, but it is included with the $90K Prestige Power Distributor if you go that route. So high-end stuff, new high-end stuff for new high-end people. I like it. Another brand I know you got some experience with, TEAC, is expanding its reference line.
I'm excited about this. This is another one of those companies that was electronics giants back when I was young. One of the interesting reasons for TEAC to kind of go back into high-end audio with the enthusiasm that they're doing is that most people know that Esoteric is the luxury division of TEAC, and Esoteric makes some of the best high-end audio equipment in the world. They make everything. They make entire systems. And so a lot of this is trickling down into the regular TEAC line. We reviewed already the transport, which is $1,500, CD players that go up to $3,000, very reasonably priced gear that sounds really good. And so I think this is another thing to kind of get excited about. TEAC is a respectable name. An entire line of products. You can build a system with TEAC. They don't have speakers yet, I don't think. But you can do this, and it's really good sound. Yeah, TEAC is on the verge of really making some big impressions in this industry very soon. The TEAC stuff that's coming out, the reference 700, the 500, it's good stuff. Good stuff up and down the line.
Yeah, this is the one I'm referring to is the new 500 series with NT507T network transport, and it'll be available to purchase in December from TEAC USA and dealers across the country. And this one is $2,500. So you have the data there. And then one final one on the 2-channel front. PS Audio is also launching their PMG Signature 512 DAC for $9,000. And now on we go to headphone-oriented stuff. ZMF, the Ori 3.0 $2,200 wood-closed back headphone. It's trickle-down tech, Haldera flagship model. So Zach at ZMF have been working on a lot of things since he was inspired to get into modding the old T50RP player in magnetics. And this is his latest kind of learnings and everything coming down from the Caldera into the Ori 3.0 at a lower price point, $2,200 for his bespoke wood closed back headphones.
I have Calderas. Yeah, I have the Calderas. That's what I use for all my headphone testing right now. So those are my reference headphones, and I dig them. I think they're wonderful.
Yeah, he makes good stuff.
He makes good stuff.
Now, the greatest IEM I ever heard, I think, in my opinion, was the Andromeda from Campfire Audio many years ago. It had its unique tone to it that made me fall in love with it. This is a long time ago now. They've had 2 iterations since, and the newest one coming out this year is the Andromeda 10 LE. I think it's for their 10-year anniversary. 2,500 gold or black real Damascus steel lids. Very excited for the launch of this guy. It's
Damascus steel.
Yeah, it's 2 times, maybe even more. It's about 2.5 times more expensive than the original, but damn it, it's the best sounding one that they made. And I don't know, they made so many, and there's been so many out there. It was just unique among the bunch of IEMs. There's so many IEMs out there, and so it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. The new Andromeda 10 LE, also awesome. Beautiful in its price point. Meze.
Yes.
My favorite closed back headphone ever. 99 Classics. A little bit of an awkward name. I don't know why it's called the Classics instead of the Classic, but the 99 Classics headphone, $350. They have 10 new updates. So there's 10 updates to the original, but the original was a thing of beauty at the $300 mark. So I would highly recommend checking this guy out. I haven't not heard it yet, but hopefully I get my hands on one soon. I think it has a lot of potential. And then like kind of the king of the entry level, like personal audio space, FiO or FiO, however you decide to say it. They have some classic like low profile wood headphones coming out. They really remind me of some of like the old school wood headphones they had, like the originals and the Fostex and this kind of thing. The FT13 wood headphones for $329. So there's another $300 pair of headphones that you could check out. They have an R to desktop DAC. That's the BR15 launching in December. That's $300. So $300 for an R desktop DAC. That's pretty cool. Can't recall too many R2Rs at the 300 level. There might be some out there if you want to correct me on it, but it's pretty fun for only $300. The AirLink, which is kind of an interesting product, I think, due out in November for $60. Check this out. If you have an Apple phone and you want the higher end or the higher like delivering wireless functionality that aptX HD and LDAC allows, they have a USB connection. You plug it into the bottom of your phone, and now you have those protocols for your wireless headphones for $60. Like kind of a workaround, but also like interesting that they would go that far to say, hey, you want the higher Bluetooth codecs or these aptX specific ones, LDAC? This is a way to do it. Also, I got the Signature S750 from Grado, a new headphone with a price of $16.95, new driver design, new cushions, detachable 4-pin XLR minis, the S2 50mm driver made of carbon fiber and paper composite diagram, and they paired it with a new lightweight copper-plated aluminum voice coil. It's a mouthful. It's just a good way of saying there's a ton of new stuff. I don't know if this necessarily marks a brand new direction for the brand, but it's definitely an improvement and an update of sorts with some of the things that they've been a little slow to navigate towards, especially like detachable cables. So a new iteration, something to definitely keep your eye on and check out. I'm not sure how it sounds amongst the others. I haven't heard it yet, but I like the direction. I like the idea. And then a non-audiophile related, I thought this was kind of hilarious. It depends what your opinion is. Gibson Guitars sent me a press release for a new Noel Gallagher Les Paul Standard Limited Edition. So Les Paul Standard Limited Edition, inspired by and branded with Noel Gallagher of Oasis. $3,000 for this Les Paul. What's your opinion of Noel Gallagher, Mark?
Not an Oasis fan. And I'm a Fender fan. So you're not really capturing my attention with this. It's like Noel Gallagher. I thought I saw another celebrity guitar recently, and it was a Telly, and it was beautiful. So let's talk about Tellys. Do you like Oasis?
Okay, so here's the thing: is they're okay in my opinion. I think they had some great songs in the '90s. But like, when I saw him in concert, they're a little rough around the edges. He's like one of those guys that says what he thinks, and that's great. And that has its place, I think. But sometimes they can be off-putting for some people. I don't have anything personally against the guy. And like I said, they had some great songs in the 90s. But it's funny how they hand out these signature editions, these special limited editions. I'm not saying Noel isn't deserving. He is very deserving of his own Les Paul standard. But it's just like they did all the bigs, and so now they're like getting down the line, like, oh, who else wants one? Who else wants one? I'm like, I need one. I need one, Mark. I need the Brian Hunter Les Paul standard limited edition. I'm calling him. Actually, I got the number right here. I'm going to get on him about that. We'll see how many we sell.
We could do a PTA version too, but of the Telly. I'll approve that project.
Yeah.
The Mark Phillips Telly.
I was just going to ask you, what color would you go with given the opportunity?
If I had a first choice, it would be that kind of aquamarine, seafoam, light green, kind of beachy look. Because every time I see one of those, it's just like, oh, that's the one I should have.
While we're in the interim, if it ever comes back, the AI songs are shut down. But you know what's not shut down, Mark? The AI jokes. And I'd like to wrap this thing up with saying thank you, Mark, for joining us on the show. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you in person
2 weeks
at Capital Audio Fest coming up very, very soon. In fact, I believe it to be the next podcast. Yeah, the next podcast you should hear should be me and Mark recorded live at the show. So keep an eye out for that. We'll have more new product announcements there, I would assume. There's going to be something.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so on with the joke. I had to go through so many terrible jokes to get to this one. And it's based on the Inuas Nazaré World Tour. Inuas has named its new streamer after a Portuguese surf town, because when the bass drops, you should ride that waveform.
Sure.
Terrible. So, Mark, thanks so much for joining us again, and I will see you in a few weeks in the flesh. And keep an ear out for the next week or next 2 weeks podcast. Again, live, Mark and I from CAF talking about all the cool stuff we saw at the show. Mark, safe travels, and I will see you soon.
All right, man. I will see you.
The Occasional Podcast is a production of the Part-Time Audiophile Network, which includes PartTimeAudiophile.com, The Occasional Magazine, the PTA Newsletter, and Audiohead.com. You can stay in touch with us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The Occasional Podcast is produced and hosted by Brian Hunter, executive produced by Scott Hall at PTA Productions. The Occasional Podcast and its original associated music is monitored, mixed, and mastered on the Focal Trio 6 BE Studio monitors. AI songs produced by AUDIO.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Occasional Podcast on iTunes, Google, Spotify, or wherever your favorite podcasts are downloaded.